Thanks a million for keeping a date with us on the program. Just in time now for our discussion segment. I'd like to welcome all our panelists for today. Edoko Wilson is from my extreme left, is a public affairs commentator, is also a social media commentator. Many thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
I have with us as well Sir Adam Saliu, a constitutional lawyer, notary public affairs commentator. By Sir Adam Saliu, many thanks for joining us on the program. With us as well is Tony Era. Tony Era is an environmentalist, also a civil rights activist. Many thanks for joining us on the program, Tony.
Thank you for joining.
Okay, just now, our focus on the show is to look at two trending matters. Of course, immediately the presidential candidate of the PDP came to the fore. Somehow, the narratives changed, the issues changed, and that has been on for a couple of days. Well, maybe that will cascade into the elections proper. But of course, this is synonymous with our political history, our political electioneering processes. Of course, the issue that came up was the visit to Obasanjo, where the former president endorsed the PDP presidential candidate. Some say that famous visit was facilitated by some religious leaders. And against that background, we've heard some reactions in which some are saying religious leaders do not have any need to be partisan. They need to be neutral. They need to sit on the fence and watch from the sidelines and all of that. So the question now, today on the show, we're looking at religious leaders and the issue of partisan politics. To what extent can they go in getting involved in politics against the background of the issues at stake, the issues of the moment all across the country? Gentlemen, thank you again for joining us on the program. Let me start from Wilson Edoko. What are your thoughts on the level of involvement of religious leaders in politics?
For me, I think it's a welcome development that religious leaders are now, getting to realize that this country needs to be salvaged. Even from the past, even in the Bible, we could see that prophets and other religious leaders then, like the priests, were into politics. In any way you want to take it from. But coming back to the issue at hand, I think our religious leaders, they are Nigerians. I think they go to same markets that we attend. I think they have their own conscience, And if they decide to say, okay, let us come out and see how issues can be resolved within two foremost personalities, on the political space, I don't see anything wrong with that, It actually goes to show that, our leaders feel the pulse of the people. Okay. They feel the plight of the people.
That's the religious leaders now?
Yes, the religious leaders. And also, I think it's that time our religious leaders start to speak up. This issue of running after money bags, has really thrown our consciences into the dustbin. See a situation whereby a politician can just give a religious leader some money and he starts praising that particular leader. I think it's a good step in the right direction for our religious leaders now to be able to now create that interface between the political leaders and the electorate, vis-a-vis how issues should be addressed. And also, we all know that there have been this long battle between former President Obasanjo and his vice running over a decade, and it's proper for our leaders, religious leaders also, to also speak to their conscience and see how they can imbibe this spirit of forgiveness, so that we all can have a society that is beneficial to all of us as Nigerians. I think these are the issues, and to me, it should be applauded.
All right, so Adam Saliu, what are your thoughts? One of the religious leaders who was very visible in that meeting has come out to say he didn't endorse anybody. Perhaps what he did is in line with what Wisin Edoku just said, that they preach forgiveness. And it's a known fact that these two national leaders have been on a war path for such a long time, facilitating their reconciliation. Does that automatically translate to endorsement? Let me get your thoughts along this line by Sam Saliu.
Well, the presidency of Obasanjo is that of an enigma in Nigerian politics. It has been the terrain for a very long time. It was his 2IC to Murtala Mohammed. He became a military head of state. Thereafter, he won an election and stayed for 2 terms. He's a general in the army, so he cuts across many spheres. So he's a determining factor here. When Atiku, as a politician, went to him to solicit his imprimatur, it was quite good, and he said he forgave him. He equally added an addendum that he will do everything to make Atiku realize his ambition. What would that be then if that is not endorsement? So it is an endorsement. It may not be overt, but it was covert. He cannot approbate and reprobate at the same time. They cannot be empowering him on the one hand and be against him on the other. In fact, I'm looking forward to his getting involved in the campaign. INEC has told them that the campaign have to start 90 days before the election. That's around middle of November. So we are waiting to see what they are doing now. Is mosquito campaign, and it is even illegal because campaign has not been declared. Anybody caught directly will be can be punished by the moderating body, INEC.
Okay, let me come to Tony Era. You're a civil society activist. For a long time, the argument has been that religious leaders, they preach in the pulpit, and to a large extent, they don't get involved in politics. People have asked that they have no reason to be partisan. They may be heard, but not visible. Was that breached in the action taken by the visible religious leader that we saw in that historic visit by Atiku to Obasanjo a few days back?
Well, thank you, Duke. What we are really talking about is about democracy and the rule of law. Democracy, you know, although has been practiced in pre-colonial Africa, was not as magnified as what it is now. But what we are just practicing now is something that is borrowed. And at that, we look at where democracy really came from. Yes, as a civil society activist, I have done so much work on the religion and the rule of law, and especially where it has to do with democracy. And there's no place I have seen where a religious leader, for instance, should not play politics. If we look at the biblical side of it, we remember where Jesus Christ actually said, give to Caesar what is Caesar, and to God what is God. God, in that essence, means the heavenly, that is beyond the earth, and why Caesar is earthly. And then when we talk about religion and politics, we talk about two things that are the basis of life. That is heavenly and earthly. So for a man to be a man, there's a duality of self, fulfilling earthly things and fulfilling that which is heavenly. And that is earthly has some basic rules and principles, criteria that must be followed so that one will not go astray. So also we know about heavenly. Good. If Bishop Oyedipo, decide to come out and support any party openly, I think it is not a bad thing. because I can see that he has a portion of his own self and that of the congregation that he takes along. Tony Ra is here first as an activist, as an individual. If I come here to talk, it doesn't mean that what I have come here to do, for instance, has the total endorsement of the organization I belong to. So under that, I think he has done very well. And I think that one of the major problems that Nigeria has ever had is that the good people, and I believe that most of the good people are men and women who have consciences that are from religious backing, religious organizations, persuasion, what have you, that they have not been able to come into the mainstream of politics. And because they have not been able to come into that, they have left politics for, I'm sorry to say, for they never do well. So I think if they come in and join, the whole thing will be good. If you say politics should be good, it means you have to bring the holiness into it. You have to bring purity into it. And I would think that for some of the countries of the world I have been, at a time we did something with the Catholic Secretariat, the Catholic journalists, in Brazil, South Africa, especially the Latin America. Anything that has to do with politics, the Catholic, the church is fully there. And when it comes to electionary campaign or whatsoever you have, the church and other religious persuasions have ever brought into the mainstream. They are the ones that moderate the excesses of political parties and parties players. So I think whatever is the Nigerian situation, the church, the mosque, and even the traditional institutions should come into politics and sanitize it.
All right, I get your reactions on this.
I have empirical instances to corroborate what my colleague here has said. Here in Nigeria today, the president, assuming is a religious man, Muslim denomination, vice president, a revered pastor in the Redeemed Church. In faraway South Africa, during the struggle for independence, those at the forefront of the liberation, when Sonny Okosu sang that we want to know who owns the land, they were religious people. Bishop Ebe Muzorewa, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, Reverend Ndabanegi Sitole. These were people who were fighting political emancipation in South Africa. They were religious people. Here in Nigeria in 1979, I'm a knight of the Catholic Church. Reverend Father Moses Adasu of Benue State contested election and won as governor here in Nigeria in 1979. So, basically, man is a political animal. Whether reverend, imam, atheist, traditional, whatever, they are basically Nigerians. And we have a legal aphorism in law, quod omnes tangis, ab omnibus approbator. What touches all must be approved by all. So the Christians, the Muslims, they are part of the society. Court of the state, so they cannot be alienated. So that is the empirical evidences. A Reverend Father can contest election as it was in Benue, and he won. South Africa got independent through Muzorewa, Sitole, and Desmond Tutu. They were all bishops, etc. So here we are. They are part of the society. They have right to play policies. Man is a political animal.
All right. So, Wilson Edeko, you want to sustain the arguments that the church needs to be more visible, or religious leaders, because we need to be a bit more generalistic. Yes. Religious leaders need to be more visible in politics.
Yes.
How sustainable is this?
Very, very sustainable, because even the Bible even said that when the righteous are in power, the people rejoice, and when the wicked takes up power, the people suffer and gnash their teeth. So the essence is that religious leaders should come out from their cocoon and vie for political office, vie for political positions. When people with with their conscience, people that can think and say, this thing I'm doing is not in the right path. When such persons, are in government, I think the country will be a better place. Not like people who do all sorts of things to get into power, all sorts of diabolic and demonic, things. They get into power. How will such persons even feel, the pulse of the people? How can they feel the plight of the people? So I am a strong advocate that Christians shouldn't have that notion that politics is a dirty game. Who made it dirty? Are the actors not human beings? Is it not the actors that has given us this perception that politics is a dirty game? Why not allow Christians or other religious leaders get into politics and clean up the system so that we can have a very veritable country that we can call our own. In the last governorship election held in 2016, a pastor contested for governor in the person of Pastor Sage Seyamo, a pastor from the Redeemed Church of God. So, who says that Christian leaders or religious leaders cannot partake in politics? I think it's a welcome idea, and it should be supported, wholeheartedly.
How sustainable is this, Tony Era? Because as a religious leader, you have people of different party affiliations, biases, and sentiments under your command. If you now take sides with one political party, and it is known that this is your disposition, don't you think that will affect the church? That will affect the relationship between the religious leader and the congregation?
Well,
so how sustainable is this under that circumstance?
First of all, right in this program, I will always like to give my tribute to the late Reverend Uba Ofe of the democracy and political theology, that he said that ethics that everybody in Nigeria must imbibe it, whether you are African traditional religious believer, Christian, or whatsoever. I think the issue about democracy and the issue about that one has to obey the law starts with oneself. When it starts with yourself, then I think all other things will follow. I don't like to believe that once you are a Christian, every Christian have the same mind. Is it so? My learned gentleman here, my elder here, is a Catholic. Perhaps if I'm a Catholic, are we going to be the same persons? No. So your individual self still play in. But when you now have a moderating criteria for doing certain things, those things still stand. I think if you go to a congregation, you stay behind and hear the congregation sing, they don't sing in one voice. Sometimes, if you know certain persons in the congregation, you still can pick their voices. Oh, okay, that is the voice of Duke Okosu. What it means is that in a congregation, everybody stands for himself or herself. And in the life of people, biometrics has come to say you carry your identity. So when it comes to a congregation like this, everybody carries his own identity. But the moderating influence is the law of the land. And the churches you are talking about, they are all registered charities under the law. So there's a law banning it. For instance, I know a very big personality of chief priest, Osemije Bohon, who is an African religious protagonist, had always said that before one ascends power, one will have to swear through an Ogun or whatsoever. And when you are a Christian, you have to swear by the Bible. And when you are a Muslim, You have to swear by the whole Quran. Although I don't know what the first thinkers swear with, like our late friend, the atheist Tai Solarin. But what I'm saying in the real sense is that everything has the rule. If you go to a court, is there anything that says when a reverend goes to the court, he should not swear by the Bible? Is there anything?
In the court, we affirm. We just affirm.
We will affirm, but it's still an oath.
Yes.
Is it not?
Yeah, sure.
It's an undertaking. And you have a situation also where the other man swears with the Quran, where the other one swears with Ogun. So if all those things are there, in the affairs of men, you let everything be. Think free and live free.
Okay.
And get freedom. That's what it should be.
All right. If you just join us, it's still TMI Monday. Of course, setting the stage for us to take this discussion to the next level. We just highlighted the issue of religious leaders and partisanship. We don't know what your thoughts are, but I'm sure you can send us a tweet at ITV Radio NG. You can send us a tweet right now at ITV Radio NG. You can also post a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/ITV Radio NG. And then we'd like to get your thoughts on, should religious leaders go partisanship? Should they be more partisan in their activities in the electionary process in Nigeria? That's the question this morning. I'm sure in the course of the show, our studio line will also be open so you can call and be part of the show. Okay, let's look at the other issue that's been trending. Yes, all our social media handles are up and running. You can watch this program much later today on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ITV Radio NG. Okay, let's look at the ban on 50 prominent Nigerians. That's also another constitutional legal issue that's been raging in the last couple of days and attracting attention and comments from different people, from different backgrounds, from different shades of opinion coming to the fore. Let me start off again with our legal practitioner in our midst, Sir Adams Aliyu. This is the fallout of Executive Order number 6 issued by Mr. President. What do we know about this from the legal perspective?
Well, this is a constitutional issue. And I am amazed that wrong interpretation is being given to it. What is Executive Order number 6? It is merely a codification of all the withdrawn privileges that an accused person is beset with. As far back as July 2018, the presidency, via the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, published a list of 155 persons found wanting human trafficking, money laundering, fraud, etc. Ipso facto, once you are an accused person, the law has the principle of audi oterem pater. That is, you must hear the other side. When you are being heard, you become an accused person. And while the trial is going on, some of your privileges are withdrawn. The agencies that do this are immigration, customs, security, the police, the courts. Automatically, all these privileges like freezing of your accounts, temporary seizure of assets, withdrawing of your passports, and restriction of movement. They are all in tandem, which is once you are accused, you are no more at liberty to be going to London or America. Your account will be frozen. And these things are being done by these agencies, ab initio, severally. But it was only now the presidency applied to court via the AG Nigeria Federation, and the court gave its imprimatur, meaning that it's constitutionally legal that these things, these privileges are being withdrawn. It didn't come from the blues. It was intravenous. A federal high court in Abuja on Friday gave the imprimatur, which is contestable. If anybody does not like it, he has right to appeal. And as I said, the accused persons also, as it were, they know and they knew that their assets have been frozen, account withheld, movement restricted, about ban, and passport seized. It was just a qualification that the presidency did. And the aim of it, the raison d'etre, is to expedite the trial. So after the trial, if what you are being accused of illegally acquiring belongs to you, you get back your property. If not, it will be confiscated for the federal government. So it is not extraordinary, it is in good faith, it is a codification of what all these agencies, custom, immigration, police, courts have been doing. If we have heard of cases of accused persons writing to court, bringing medical certificate, please, I want to go and get treatment abroad. Has movement not been restricted? Is it on Friday when the court gave the imprimatur to the presidency that it started? So an accused person who is under trial is denied some privileges enunciated in Chapter 4 of the Constitution. The executive order number 6 merely codified this, has not added, has not subtracted. Because some of these cases have been on for 8-10 years, but the government now wants to expedite action so that the people will know where they are. They will get back their property if it is transferred to them.
Okay, Wilson, what are your thoughts in terms of this ban? Because a lot of social activists or civil rights activists have described it as an infringement on the fundamental human rights of those so listed, even though the presidency is yet to come out with the full list or come out with the list of those banned. Yeah.
I think for me, I would disagree with my father here, you know, as regards to some of the issues he has raised. I think a law should be something that should be enacted to ameliorate a certain challenge, and also it should be for public good. A law shouldn't be discriminatory. I think a law shouldn't be seen as a means to witch hunt people and put them in a box or jackboot them. You know, personally, I feel that this purported ban, you know, of 50 Nigerians is a gross violation of their fundamental human rights as enshrined in our Constitution. If you go to Chapter 4 of our Constitution, where, you know, it totally talked about fundamental human rights, I think it's a great infringement on it. An executive order cannot replace a law. I think in my own in my own understanding, I think that this order should have, if the government feels that, you know, this ban, you know, should be strengthened, I think that it should have gone through a constitutional process. Constitutional process in the sense that the invalidation of the sections of the Constitution would have been taken to the National Assembly, passed by the National Assembly, and also by 2/3 states of the House of Assemblies, you know, to be able to have that bearing, you know, to be able to impede people from not. I think this is like taking us back, you know, to a military type of government. I think in a 21st century government shouldn't be practicing this kind of, you know, measure or practice. Okay, are we not saying that the ban is going to bring back the stolen wealth? These are some of the questions we'll be asking ourselves. Okay, look at the purported list. We are all witnesses to the fact that there was even a dead person on the list, as reported, you know. And to me, we are just turning this country into a laughing stock in international community. You know.
Okay, let me proceed there. I know that in terms of following due process or judicial process, that has been followed. There was a court judgment to that effect that
Friday.
The executive order was in order. But something I took from what you said was that the Constitution reigns supreme. But
yes,
since there's already a judgment by a court of competent jurisdiction, I'm sure that's why this is being activated now. But Tony Era, you've been smiling and you've been laughing. What that is about, I really don't know. Yes.
Well, I would think that a society where there's no law is not a society, it's a lawless society. A society where there is a law, where there are laws and principles, is a society that is expected to be guided. But a society where laws are retrospective, is a society that is not only not only that is a fascist society, it's a society that is where the leadership is dictatorial, and where the leadership withholds the opposition. No matter what it is a good thing to fight
Corruption? Okay.
It's a good thing to fight corruption. It's a good thing that the rule of law has to be followed. But what is not good are mechanical laws, are laws that are done to withhold the order. My own impression is that it is just like, we are going back to 1984, when it was the time of Decree 4 by the same president when he was head of state. Decree 4 then stopped the right of people to express themselves, freedom of association, freedom of movement, and so on and so forth. Good that the executive bill 6 is intended to solve a problem. That is the problem of corruption. Well, I always believe that even though people say that the anti-graft pursuit of the government in power is one-sided and withhold the opposition, but is that to say that those who have been brought to the fore, is it another way to say their hands were not soiled? Generally, no. But the issue is the way it is being pursued. As our learned elder has told us, he has given us an impression that it is good and it is a good step. And what I would like to ask him is, one, if you have a constitution, a set of laws and principles that takes the people along, and that law is at the top, do you need another draconian law by the executive to be able to enforce a law that is already on the ground?
Can I answer you there?
Hello, sir. That is one. Two, you did mention about a court judgment
On Friday.
on Friday
Yes.
by one Justice Ijoma.
Federal High Court, Abuja.
Federal High Court, Abuja. If you look at most of the proclamation by courts these days, most of them, if not most of them, are black market judgments. And when they are black market judgments, they are contestable. Who now says when a court now makes a judgment, and that is the finality of it? A court can make a judgment, and another court can make a judgment.
You can appeal. There are many ways out.
Okay.
The question can.
Sir, that is that. And I think that the law of the land is still reigns supreme. It's like the inconclusive election in Ekiti. For instance, where a subsidiary law is expected to take precedence over
for
instance. No, we are all...
No, but let's establish the point. It's making references.
The point
Yeah.
I'm establishing, the point I'm establishing is that subsidiary laws cannot always override the bigger law.
Okay, but Mr. Leo, I'd like to get the points of arguments and reactions, because I know that the President has also said anyone who is dissatisfied with the action of the executive order as requested by the President should go to court. Yes, let's get your thoughts along those lines.
What is the fact in issue? If you are an accused person, EFCC takes you to court, automatically while the trial is going on, you are denied some privileges before now. And these privileges include restriction of your movement. Is that not so? People have been standing trial under EFCC for the past 10 years. Their movement have always been restricted. 2, there is seizure of your passport. There is temporary forfeiture of your assets. And there is freezing of your account in the bank. These are what EFCC has been doing all years, and heaven did not fall. There was no hue and cry. The agencies that implement these things, they are customs, immigration, police, and the courts. As far back as July this year, 4 or 5 months ago, the government published 155 names of people who are guilty, who are in court under EFCC, and that they should be denied these privileges. But only on Friday here now, they came out with a list of 50 unspecified people, highlighting only one of them, that they have no opportunity, or they declared them what we call international law, persona non grata, that they cannot travel out. Persona non grata means an unfit and improper person, that they cannot travel. People that have had cases with EMCC, you know their names. Have they been traveling up and down? Have their assets not been frozen? Have their passport not been seized? Have their movement not been restricted? So the executive order 6, which the court put its imprimatur and blessing on Friday, was merely a codification to put all what this agency were doing, codified it into one single document. It did not amplify, it did not reduce it. And as I said, we're in a democracy. The Constitution is here, that it is supreme, chapter 1, and section 1, that any other semi-quasi law is inferior to this, and the Constitution will prevail. If you are not in tandem with the proclamation by Abuja Federal High Court on Friday, then you go to court. But simplicity, it was just re-echoing what EFCC has been doing to people who have cases in court. Restriction of movement, seizure of property, seizure of passport, freezing of account. The people have not been clear. It's not new to them. The people know that this is what they have been doing.
I still find the fault in that. Where I still find the fault is this. When I read Fani Kayode, what he actually said is that since 2008, he has not traveled out of this country.
Okay.
Some of his assets have been seized ever since, depending on the determination of the court. But the one I am talking about, what is the essence of this executive
order number 6?
What is the essence? Hello, sir. What is the essence? I think that when one person, an individual, is oppressed, that means everybody is not free, because what comes around goes around. The issue, I know that what you lawyers, without sounding immodest, what you always say is that you can go to court, you can go to court. What is the process of going to court? In Nigeria, not only of the common man, but of the rich man as well. Okay. But what I want to, what I'm really talking about, you said something about persona non grata. Yes. That is a word I don't like to hear. In a place where, in a situation where one has been taken to court Does that mean that that person has been labeled as persona non grata? Persona non grata is not a good word. It's only the court that can say
that's why the matter is in court.
That there's only an allegation that has not been proved yet. But I want to still tell you that the court that sat
on Friday,
what the court said, the judgment said, is that whatever it is about this executive order, that they don't want a situation where it has to impinge on the people's rights, where it comes to the rule of law and the separation of powers. We know the judiciary is at the apex.
It's independent.
It's independent and is the interpreter of the whole thing. Where a court has said, please don't do this thing in such a way as to jeopardize the fundamental rights of those who are involved. Now we have a situation of what the court even said. If it has to do with an individual, come to the court first. You know, it's a bad thing to do a media trial against anybody. A media trial. Oh, this person is persona non grata. Whether you have to go to the court to do it or not, but you still see that we are still in a problem, a very big problem by this executive order, in that the polity is heated up.
Okay, let me pursue there. Let me get Doko Wilson. Yes, you mentioned to say something.
I think I also disagree with that comment about classifying these persons as persona non grata. These cases are still in court. So there's no need now trying to now brandish them and give them that name. You know, being regarded as persona non grata. I believe this, to me, this government is just trying to score cheap political points, you know, with the fight against corruption, which we all know is a fallacy. You know, Nigerians have now come to realize that the fight against corruption is one-sided.
But there have been gains in this fight against corruption.
Monies have been recovered. You're talking about monies that have been recovered.
Yes,
why is it that in 2015 our debt level was 12 trillion?
Yes.
Today is around 22 trillion. And you are telling us that you recovered the
monies.
No. Where are the monies? Where are the monies? How? These monies are meant for developmental.
Must it be the executive
inside the bank?
Pursue this thing? Are there no institutions?
These are
you said you have EFCC, you have ICPC, you have that. What is the value of executive order 6?
These are monies which would have been channeled into, you know, capital, you know, capital development and all. But now they keep telling us that this money are being kept in one. Why not bring this money out? You know, the idea of this executive order is just a reinvention of decree number 4
it is.
In 1984. That is the way it is. Okay, look at the issue of the grass cutting scandal. Till today, we have not heard anything. Is Babachi Lawa's name in that list?
Have you seen the list?
Have you seen the list?
There's a list flying.
Have you seen the list?
There is a list on social media flying. And the government have not come back to deny the list.
But the government has said it's not released.
So that means
if the government hello sir, if the government is not a government of prankster, why will a government say
Tony, let's be civil in our language.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, let's be civil in our language.
If the government really want to be consistent with its the populist idea it claims is bringing to the public, why will the government now say, okay, we have things like executive order like this, 50 names, mention it, and giving the people suspense? Why, as you are mentioning it, one will expect you to come out with the 50 names and don't hit up the polity and don't make people to be doing guesswork and all that.
I think
speculating. Come up with the names so
that people know the names, right?
Even the purported list of the looters is illegal. That's
So
another question.
You have seen the list.
The list of the 150 public, and even the court, if I could recall, the court of competent jurisdiction also came out to say that that publication is illegal. Good. You know, and now we are now the government is still going back to release another list of persons that will be banned from traveling abroad. Let
me raise an issue that I want you guys to respond to, particularly our learned friend here, which is that every time the EFCC, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, wants to seize a property belonging to someone who is alleged to be corrupt, they go to court to seek the permission of the court. And most times that permission is granted by the court, and then the EFCC goes ahead to serve a notice or whatever it is, and then go ahead to seize that property. Now, with this executive order, number 6, what becomes of the role of the court as enshrined in the Constitution as a constitutional provision before such an action can be taken? It means, if we extrapolate the executive order, based on this executive order, the EFCC can just go after anybody's property and seize it, relying on the executive order, without reference to the court to seek the permission of the court. Is it as what happens now?
No, the EFCC does not act in vacuum. It acts on petition. When you petition, and you know there are many whistleblowers now.
Yes.
They blow whistle.
Yes.
When you give them information, they will seek what we call mandamus. They will seek order of court, a mandamus. If they either seek a mandamus or they will seek certiorari, these are authorities given to the court to give interlocutory authority to EFCC to go and work. So it is a petition that propels EFCC to act using mandamus, and the court will say, okay, while the case is being investigated, some of your privileges are denied. Not only traveling, I said seizure of passport, restriction of movement,
yes,
forfeiture of access, and freezing of account. They are well for, they are quadrangular. The EFCC are.
But what I'm asking now is that the EFCC will always go to the court to seek the court's permission to do this.
Yes, that's how it should be.
Is that how it's supposed to be?
Yes,
with the executive order now, it means that the EFCC does not need the court.
The executive order, I gave you the reason there that instead of customs, immigration, police, courts to be working severally at different angles to ensure this denial of privileges, Executive Order 6 merely codified and put all these things in one document. That a person who is a litigant, who is a persona non grata, is denied these 4 restrictions as has been aforesaid.
Yes.
It's merely duplicative and amplificatory. It's not new whatsoever.
Okay.
So when the very people did not go to court, they didn't shout that they have been prevented from traveling 6 months ago, 3 months ago. It is on Friday that the court of Abuja has given a premature now that they will now be crying.
Okay, so I was talking about the role of the judiciary. Isn't this an infringement on the role of the judiciary by the executive against the background that these three arms of government are supposed to be independent, as it were? Let me get your take, Dr.
Yes,
Wilson.
like you have earlier pointed out, this is a great infringement. Not just only on the judiciary, on the legislature. You know, the question you asked Leonard Edda, I think he has not been able to actually substantiate and give reasons for the actions of the government. The EFCC can now, are we not saying that the EFCC now cannot bypass that process, that procedure that they normally take, going to court to collect an order, before getting to seize a person's property or not? The issue now is that the the executive order now creates a leeway for the EFCC to just barge into anybody's property and say this particular property has been seized. And also, I want to chip in something. The forgery of certificates, is that not corruption in itself? Yeah. Wasn't it proper for this government to use that particular case to score political points, just the way they are trying to use this the executive order to show to Nigerians that they are truly they are truly fighting against this corruption that they campaigned against? Why was Kemi Adeosun not prosecuted? Why was she escorted out of this country? Well, wasn't it right?
Did you see anybody escorting here?
Yes, she was.
Did you see anybody escorted? We were told that she left the country.
Why would she leave the country? Why would she leave the country? She would have been prosecuted and, used as a benchmark. Look at the way this issue about MENA. The MENA issue, you see another issue again. Now, why was he also escorted out of this country?
Okay. Adeosun's matter is not in court.
Is forgery not a criminal offense? Where was the police?
You are spoken. Adeosun was not in court. The 50 people in question, their matter is sub judice. Under the court. Their matters have been in court. If the matter is in court, you are denied privileges like restriction of movement, seizure of passport, denial of access, and freezing of your account. These things have been on for 2, 3, 10 years.
Sambo has been granted bail several times. And this government turns around.
All right, gentlemen, my time is up. Just a word from you.
Hello, sir. I think I always believe that in Nigeria we should have what is called generational knowledge transfer. To see the three of us discussants who are here this morning, he's older than me, and I'm older than our comrade. When we are in such forum, the thing is for us to learn mentorship, for us to transfer knowledge to the younger
generation.
The knowledge I want him to transfer to us is why a federal government that is proactive in doing this and that cannot be proactive in mopping up those who are their own aides within their own government.
Okay, that's a matter. That's a matter for another. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. The co-wilson, that's Adam Saliu, Tony, thank you for your time. Big thanks to all our crew members for making the show a huge success. On behalf of all of them, my name is Sonny Jiko Kosun, saying thank you and wishing you a great day. Bye for now.